Hi, this is Daniela Cambone, and welcome back to StansberryInvestor.com. We are talking the Chinese crypto crackdown today with my guest. He is Brian Tycangco, a senior analyst of True Wealth Opportunities China. Brian, good to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Danny. Good to see you again. Thanks for having me over.
Absolutely. I needed to get you on because we need to understand the real deal behind what's happening in China. Because as we're seeing right now, some cryptocurrency holders over there remain undeterred even after this further crackdown on the industry. So the question really is will Beijing be successful with this crackdown, or will people just keep finding workarounds to getting their crypto?
Okay, great questions, Danny. Okay, so what happened? Like September 24th, Beijing came out with the announcement that all virtual currency related business transactions are illegal financial transactions. I mean, that could not be more clear. It is so scary for a lot of these crypto companies that offer crypto services like exchanges. And that's why you saw that immediate reaction when Bitcoin fell about 8% that very same day. And right now, I mean, over the weekend and these past couple of days, I've heard news that crypto exchanges were now turning away Chinese customers, as well as either canceling their accounts or limiting their access to certain services. Well, why is this? I mean, there are three really good reasons why Beijing is doing this. First of all, and the most obvious reason, I think, is they're going to be launching a digital yuan in a few months. That's their scheduled launch is February of 2022. Now, anything that takes away from the credibility of that launch, I think they want to make sure that that doesn't happen. As you know, the digital yuan is something that they hope to replace all cash in China. That is not your equivalent of a WeChat Pay or an Alipay app, where it's just linked to your bank account, kind of like an Apple Pay service. But this actually replaces physical cash, and they're trying to do away with cash. With that, they are able to monitor their whole financial system and transactions, which is, in some places it might sound really scary, and it is. But then that's Beijing's goal ultimately, and one of the reasons why I think that they announced this major crackdown on crypto.
Mm-hmm.
Second reason, yeah, sorry.
I was going to say that makes a lot of sense, but please continue.
Yeah, the second reason, I think it's not a coincidence that this was timed the same day or the same week that the Evergrande debt crisis was coming to a boil. Now, as you know, the Evergrande debt crisis was, all over the news, and it was plastered as, China's Lehman moment, which it's not, but just the fear factor alone is enough to send a lot of investors and level-headed investors and everyday people running to some other asset that they feel that they can escape this system that might collapse anytime soon because of what's going on in the property market, which they're led to believe from reading the news. That I think also contributed to Beijing's crackdown last Friday, or September 24th. The third reason, it really is to not encourage the mining activities of Bitcoin. If you haven't heard already, China is going through one of their worst energy crises in ages, in the last 20 years. Now, China gets about 70% of its energy from coal power plants. And coal prices have gone up 250% in the past year. I mean, you do the math. Beijing is now worried that they're not going to have enough power to keep the lights on. And the last thing that they need are a bunch of Bitcoin miners sucking up all the energy that they can spare for their people. Now, Bitcoin mining, in just Bitcoin mining all over the world, probably accounts for the entire energy consumption of a country like Austria, which is like 2% of what China consumes in a year. But then when you get that 2% and when you use it over, where you're able to use that during the peak periods when demand spikes, then you're able to take less stress off the power grid, which is they're scared that the power is going to come crashing down if the power spikes too much, the demand spikes too much. So these are the three reasons why I think they came out with this crypto crackdown last week.
So many good points there, Brian, that I want to unpack. Before we go there, I just want to ask you, and what I'm hearing from you is, do you think then that Beijing will be successful? Because there's some that are saying, look, if they put out a policy, they're going to carry through with it. And on the flip side, others are saying Bitcoin cannot be stopped. There's places like MetaMask, a digital wallet online game players use to buy and sell NFTs, but you can also be used to trade cryptocurrency. So there are these workarounds. Who do you think wins in this scenario? Government or the people?
It's really too early to tell, but look, they did not make it illegal to actually hold cryptos. If you're a Chinese citizen, you can have a crypto wallet and have crypto in it. Nothing bad's going to happen to you. Yet, if you engage in business activities like accepting cryptos in exchange for goods, that runs afoul of the law. If you have a crypto exchange wherein, like Binance, wherein you're allowing people to trade cryptos to make some money off of it, that's a financial activity, that's illegal. So it's still legal to hold cryptos, and I feel that one of the things that's going to happen as a result of these crackdowns is that companies will just find more innovative ways, because there is huge demand, allowing Chinese to own more cryptos, but not really own it in a way that they're trading it.
They're saying you can own it, but it's almost impossible to get possession of it now.
That's right. Like you said, there still are ways to get cryptos. I'm not aware of those ways. I'm not crypto expert in any way, but for now, I think that's what's going to happen. I mean, that China needs to put its foot down right now. It sees that it needs to limit or eliminate the possibility of capital flows out that they cannot monitor. If you remember, last year there was this big piece of news that $50 billion worth of crypto or Bitcoin fled China. Now, that's something that Beijing doesn't want at all. Okay, that they're not going to have that, especially with the things that the problems and the challenges that they're facing right now with their economy, with the real estate sector. The last thing that they need is a way for people to panic and get their money out of China and create this vacuum or this liquidity crisis in the country.
And we're seeing companies complying. News of Alibaba that's no longer going to be selling any machines needed to mine Bitcoin. So the efforts are working.
It is. And I think this is an offshoot of Beijing's tech crackdown, wherein they really put a lot of these tech companies in line to, I would say, just to toe the party line and just to do whatever they think that is right for the country.
I want to get back to the point you said about the Chinese yuan, which is a very important point. And we spoke about it last time you were on, Brian. It was so key what you brought up. We spoke about the issue of privacy, right? Where you're saying, cash will be gone and the government will basically know every transaction you do. And that only makes the case stronger for assets like crypto and precious metals, right? So now it's harder to get to crypto, right? Does that make the case stronger for the precious metals?
I think it does. I think that there's going to still be some ways for people to get crypto. It's going to be harder. It's technology. It's always going to evolve, and there's going to be new ways for people to get their hands on this. But until that day comes, they're going to have to look for other ways. They're now a little bit afraid of investing in property. Property market is down year on year. I think in some places it was down 20% because of what happened recently with Evergrande. I think it's just going to correct itself later on and smoothen out. I don't think it's going to blow up into a big financial crisis at all, because Evergrande is an outlier. Most of the real estate companies in China are actually doing pretty well. They have good balance sheets. They produce consistent free cash flow year in and year out. So it's really this one company that grew out of just accumulating so much debt over the past 10 years. Going to our point, what else can they invest in? I've been seeing an uptick in the premium in the Shanghai Gold Exchange that they buy gold in. It's now up to its highest level since the first quarter of this year. And that shows us, that there is now increased buying of gold in China. Is it enough to move the needle for gold? Maybe not, but the buying is there. I think that the coronavirus lockdowns have really hurt physical demand as people can't go out to these shops and buy them. But I think that one of the ways that physical demand is going to recover is when China finally allows more travel into Hong Kong, where historically more than 50%, sometimes 60, 70, 80% of Chinese gold buying happens in Hong Kong, where gold is tax-free.
And just on your point about the SGE, the Shanghai Gold Exchange, that's really a topic in itself that I want to talk about with you on another episode. Sure. But overall, Brian, do you think people there are seeing this as an infringement on freedom of your rights, or a move that the Chinese government had to take here?
I really think it's the latter. There's not a lot of uproar about privacy with the digital union that I've been following this. There's not much. I mean, if ever there is, it's not on the news. And really, people are in line with what Beijing is trying to do. And it's just amazing how the government has everybody so laser focused at what they're trying to do, which is get this economy back on track, get it back up on its feet from the COVID crisis, and even these challenges that they're facing right now. But when things start to become out of hand, but when things become a little bit more rocky in terms of the political situation, then I think Beijing will do something to appease the public. In terms of privacy, like I said, I'm not hearing a lot of objections towards it.
But maybe there's a fear. Could there be a fear of protesting, of vocalizing anger towards the government? Is that a possibility?
No, not really, because China is such a unique society in the way that it's adopted to technology. WeChat and WeChat Pay and Alipay. I mean, everything that they're doing right now, they know that they're giving up not just a little bit, but a large degree of their privacy. And one of the things that Beijing has been doing actually was sort of sending a message that yes, this whole tech crackdown or tech regulatory environment is really to help protect your privacy. When by saying you're the average Chinese consumer. So they at the back of their minds, they know that Beijing is doing all of this to help protect their privacy, to protect their rights. And that, I think that messaging is coming across, and maybe toning down any objections towards the digital currency that will take away all cash in China.
And it's opened up, I guess, on the flip side with the crackdown, especially in the mining front. I mean, there's other places in the world who are seizing the opportunity. We've seen, Texas, Florida. There's places in Canada who are really trying to become like mining meccas now, almost taking advantage of the shutdown of what was a major hub.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all know that cryptos, Bitcoin is the last thing on Beijing's mind. When I say Beijing, the government, they have so much other worries right now, and they really are focused on the economy. They're focused on trying to basically usher this development of their economy into the digital age, okay, without having to create so much volatility that comes with change. And they hate volatility, and they want everything to be just going on smoothly, and they're trying to manage everything. And it's in that managing of the economy wherein they really don't see a future for Bitcoin in China, at least not now. I think they do see the benefits for blockchain in the digital yuan eventually, but right now they're using it's not blockchain is what? It's an open ledger, right? But what Beijing is using for its digital yuan is closed, and they don't see the benefits yet of doing the open way. But eventually, I think what I've read is that they are studying ways to adopt blockchain to their current needs, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Really good thoughts from you, Brian. I appreciate you breaking this all down for us. Please keep us up to date on the latest developments with this saga. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And before I let you go, just to pivot here, because I know we spoke crypto, but you have a great report coming out next week focused on American energy and about how the US power grid is aging, it's inefficient, and it isn't going to be able to sustain our needs in the future. It's barely sustaining them now. Sounds riveting. Can you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is just all about the new American energy revolution that's going to dwarf anything that you've ever seen before. And it's got nothing to do with, clean energy, or very little to do with clean energy. It's just about energy storage. It's one of the things that America is on the cusp of finally breaking into. The great way to store energy for use anytime with 100% efficiency. It's the future, and it opens up massive opportunities for a whole range of new industries. So that's what this report is all about, and I hope that people will find it interesting and read it.
I definitely will read it, because in it you tell us the sectors we should be paying attention to, from what I understand, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. Appreciate your thoughts. Come back anytime.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for watching. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to stansberryinvestor.com. In the meantime, don't forget to sign up for premier access to content you can't get anywhere else at danielakamboni.com. That's it for me. Thanks for watching.